today is part 2 hog processing deal here. So as you just saw earlier in the video, we've had this sitting in an ice bath for about a day and a half. First of all, you know, it's, in my opinion, it's going to be better if you have a fresh hog and you got to completely clean it. That fat and everything is just really jelly-like. The meat's jelly-like. This has tightened up the meat and everything. So we're going to break everything down. I'm kind of going to ad-lib what I do. I'm not 100% sure if I want to debone the ham, if I want to, how I want to break that down. So we're going to go ahead and get started. But first of all, I want to weigh my hams. So we're interested to see what the hams weighed. All right, so here, I believe this is the front shoulder. Yes, it is. So that's weighing in at about 26 pounds. So we're going to start breaking this off, breaking it down, I mean. All right, so here is our front shoulder. Let me flip it over. So this is your picnic. You have your hawk, your picnic, and then your Boston butt. See all this fat, how tight that is? It's going to make it a lot easier to trim it down than it would have been the other way. So let's flip it back over. Clean and sanitized our table and our knives as well. So by the way, this is just a record. I've never ever done this before. This is a very large feat for me. I can show you this real quick if you zoom in here. Here, between this rib, when we first went to split the breast, I missed it. I was over too far. So that was part of our issue when we were some of that in there. So what I've heard, and it's pretty much how this is going, is you need to ride this bone all the way down. And if you can apply some pressure, and this will, and that's exactly what it's doing. The professional bushers were right. There's another, the other end of it's here. Essentially, I don't know how easy or hard this would have been had I not you can kind of hear it peeling maybe. So now let's see if I can rotate this around here. A little bit of the bone. Oh, the bone comes all the way to here. I see it. Let's see how it comes up to here. Okay, I got it. Again, I've never done this before, so there's my natural seam. I can see it right there. So kind of just want to reach in there. Let's see here. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this. Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's just good for soup, beans. So I'm gonna watch where my knife's at. Might be able to make a butcher out of me after all. The only thing I would advise in this whole process here that I would do differently for myself is to have an actual cutting board like the butchers have. There we go. So there's that plate. There's some meat on there. You know, there's some little chunks. There's a lot of fat as well. These are ribs. So technically, I could take my saw, cut this off, and have an extended piece of rib section here. And then this, you see there's meat left on there. And you could smoke it and then put it in with beans. So I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do. Set that aside. All right, so here I've now taken that bone off. There's stuff in here that we'll work to remove and clean up. I don't like that vein. So The stuff I'm keeping for sausage is going to go in there. And then, so I think I was supposed to take this off. If I remember correctly, it should have gone on with the, maybe not. I was thinking that maybe it was supposed to go on with the bacon side. So, you know, again, this was my first, so you want to criticize me, I get it. It's fine. Actually, I think what the other part of this is the hock, which again, I'll probably peel this off because that's typically what I've seen the butchers do, because this is just a flab of meat, and I can use this, shoot, you could probably even turn it into bacon, a little slab of bacon there, so we'll see. All right, so now you can see the hock, which is right here. Your picnic section will be here, and then your Boston butt's going to be here. And it's not going to be the cleanest. Again, this is my first time butchering, so I think what I remember them saying was right in here. You kind of want to come across, cut this here. Sometimes you'll see in the supermarket too, they actually include some of this hock with your picnic. I've been debating if I want to actually leave that on and then, or just take it off. But if either way, I can do that after if I want and cut that off. So there's your bone that's typically part of your Boston butt, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just come in and cut right through here. So this would be my Boston butt. I plan on making it a bone in. So this was my 6-inch knife there, and I'm going to use my large 10-inch victorinox breaking knife. There is a bone in here, and so I'm just cutting down to the bone. Okay, there's also a joint in there that, well, I actually probably knew what I was doing. I could probably hit it and find the joint, but because I don't, oh yeah, forgot. So I stored this backwards here, so I'm going to put the blade back on correctly. I am wearing a cut resistant glove on this hand. Just the wise thing to do is, you know, you don't want to cut yourself. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. All right, so see, you heard that snap there. So hey, there we go. So this I can turn into my picnic right here, and this would be my Boston butt. So now I'll probably do a little bit of trimming here, kind of clean it up a little bit, kind of just shape it out. All right, so here's our ham, your traditional ham. We ended up with an extra rib bone here, which isn't supposed to be there. This bone right here is, I believe, the H bone that at minimum a lot of people like to take out. So yeah, this ham should have been cut out through here. I missed that. Again, first time doing it, so I'm probably just going to go ahead and cut that out. I'm not going to waste that. I mean, there's good piece of meat. It's on the table. All right, so we're sitting at about 18 pounds, and I lost probably maybe about a pound, so it's about 19 pounds. So there's a lot you can do with this. I don't think, honestly, I don't think I'm going to debone it. I think I'm just going to take this H bone out. I'm going to try. It's a big bone, but you kind of want it out of there. So here's where it is here. The nice thing is once I... All right, I'm not a professional. There's a little bit of meat on there. This can be saved. There's the ball socket right there. So the other thing to do next is you could actually follow your seams and go rip out that. So what they do is they'll follow this down and out and actually take this part of the ham off, so that your boneless ham, excuse me, would be this section here with that. So this short piece of femur here would come out. So you would remove this, take that off, rip this off of this side, so you'd have your ham, and then you'd have a small roast here. I really personally don't feel like doing that. I know they would tell me to square this up, so then I would have some meat here for some sausage or whatnot. So I'm gonna just trim a little bit of the excess fat off here that I don't want. I don't know. That's the only thing I haven't decided is, do I want to try and dig this out, dig this femur out. Pretty much going to follow here. It's going to cut through there, and then, like I said, you'll rip this off. But I think I'm going to leave it just like, again, I'm not taking every bit of fat off. It's not, obviously it's to do, and it's not my goal. Just try and take off some of the excess fat. I know some of you are probably going to be, all that lard. Yeah, well, I've never done it, and I'm not about to get in that. Killing this pig was brutal enough. So, okay. All right, so this membrane does have to be removed that's on your ribs. So you want to do that in this point. I don't know. We may have missed it. We may have already discarded it. There's generally a large piece of fat. They call that the gold on the hog for what do you call it? Lard. There's a big piece of lard. We might have missed it. I wasn't planning on keeping it anyway. So what I have to do here is, here's my ribs. I have to cut along here till I hit the ribs. I can fold this back. Then I'm going to cut this out for my baby backs. My baby backs will be right in here. I have my spare ribs. And then the pork loins on this side, along with the tenderloin, which is actually right in here. Your tenderloin, I believe, is on this side. So it's not much of one. I can tell you that right now. Having purchased tenderloins before, I can tell it's not a big one. So now we got to figure out, because you don't want to damage it. It's not already damaged. So I might come along right in here till I hit the ribs. I remember what they said the other day. Just till you hit the ribs. Right there. Okay. Then these guys tend to score the meat here, so they can pull that off. And then your ribs end right in here. And so I noticed a lot of times they score this like this, kind of cutting through that fat. Virtually good to go. So I'm sure I butchered it, but that's it. At least the tenderloin. Moving on to the big piece. There's meat everywhere on here, and maybe this was more tenderloin I missed. I really don't know. Very hard for me to know, as I don't know the full anatomy of the animal. Well, I do, but I don't. So that might be something to do before you. I've been watching videos for a couple weeks now, just trying to get an idea of things, but watching a video and doing it are two different things, especially when a professional is doing it and you're not. And they're not sitting there coaching you through it. So right, so what we have is I have to separate this here from our pork loin. I'll find my ribs here. Let me get my bearings here and we'll be right back. All right, so yeah, this is a chore. This is probably the hardest part right here. So I'm trying to follow this bone. Kind of disappears further down over here to get the what do you call it, the pork loin off. So we're working on that right now, and trying to get that off. And as soon as that gets separated off, we will successfully have separated my pork loin from the baby back ribs. I'll have to cut off of the ribs, which I already was anticipating. This is not very easy, I'll tell you that. For the butchers that do it, I commend them for years of experience, right? All right, let's flip this over and see what we got. So there you go. It's not going to be the prettiest thing, I guarantee you that. So this is where I'm in a little bit of a trouble here is I think I've seen them cut this section off here and then maybe make this into like a bone-in roast. So I was contemplating doing that because this is your baby backs right here. These are your baby backs right here. So I can kind of technically cut this off. So I may do that. Let's get this off here. Get into that right here, this little bone. I think, if I remember correctly. There we go. I don't know if I can, yeah, I can finish that off with this. Just careful of the knife. You respect that knife. You don't want that thing going through you. I can guarantee you that. All right, there we go. So I can now debone that. That's a lot easier. All right, we're almost done here then. Let's see. That's another bone here. Another bone there. But this is why I put it on ice and didn't just butcher, because it's nigh impossible to cut. Okay, there. So you see the way these are. Your baby backs are here. This can be used for soup bones. So now what I have to do is I have to take my saw and I have to cut this all the way across here, probably minus this piece right here. So I'm going to get to work on that. When I'm almost done, we'll get back. All right, so when I've got this here, I really just peeled it right off. It peels literally right off from this. So there is no bone here, and I would venture to say that I probably messed something up. But I think looking at that, that's more of bacon here. So this is fat. You can see most of this is fat. So I'm going to work on trimming this up, and then if I have any sections here that are good for bacon, I'm pretty sure, there it is right there. There's a little bit of meat muscle in there. You see kind of woven through there. Honestly, I don't know what I did wrong to get this. Maybe I just didn't cut the belly back enough. So if I'm going to use this for bacon, I'll just put that in there. That might have been part of a tenderloin. I think we can smoke that. It's a little thick. I could maybe trim it down. I don't know. Really not sure, but I think that's about the average thickness for there. I just don't know what I did here, but that does look like a lot of fat. So I think I might, let's just go for it. Let's just see what I do here. I have a feeling that most of this is fat. There's a little bit of meat in there. So we can look at this a little bit. cut that down. So I think I can use this for bacon though, other than the fact that I might have a little excess fat that I want to remove. So I'm going to put this in the cooler. Oh, we got to debone this too. And we're going to cut this down. I'm going to save you time some video, and we're going to do it real quick, and then I'll show you where we're at. All right, so I just separated the baby backs with my saw off of this piece. Again, you could use this for soup. All right, so we've got some cryovac bags, so I'll put that in there. Give it extra room. We have a NutriChef that we purchased, so we're going to get that in there, get it cryovac'd, and get it sealed up. And you want to have room for it too, because sometimes it'll start pulling some of the juices in and you don't want that. And there is a drip tray in there as well to pull out and clean out. Okay, it's done. And then if you wanted, this one doesn't double seal it, so if you want to double seal it, you can just pull it back out a little bit and then seal it again, just to ensure that nothing comes out of there. So we're going to work on sealing a bunch of meat, and we'll get back with you as soon as we've got a bunch of it sealed up or any. Okay. Alright, so that was the breakdown and the processing down of our hog. Didn't show every little piece and every little thing that we did, but it was a lot of work, but it was well worth it. So to try to just do a quick recap, our hog weighed 225 pounds when we butchered her, and after we took her, skinned her out and gutted her, she was about 180. After all said and done and trimming, I think we ended up with over 150 pounds of pork, so it was great. 2 large hams, the ribs, pork loins, tenderloins, Boston butts, picnics, and all that. So we were super excited. As you can see, we had a lot of help, and that was the first time ever doing it. So I thought overall it wasn't bad, but definitely need some sharpening skills on doing some of that and cutting up some of the meat. So but a lot of helpers, got a lot done. Normally you would hang the meat for a week or two and then actually process it down, which we didn't have a cooler, like a walk-in cooler to hang them in, so we just did all that, and it worked out very well. So look like we may want to do this again. So but if you ever have any comments, anything you want to leave us about what we did or anything you've done that worked for you, please feel free to let us know. I've got some links in the description below on the knives used and the hanging, the scale, and the NutriChef cryovac machine, and anything else like that that we may have used in the video. So appreciate y'all watching. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and we look forward to doing some other videos here soon, and thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.